Have you ever heard of a leader who could forge an entire nation from nothing but willpower, strategy, and steel? A man whose name became a legend, whispered across continents and centuries? Today, we journey back to the rolling hills and sweeping grasslands of southern Africa to uncover the story of one of history's most formidable and revolutionary figures, Shaka Kazanzangokona, better known as Shaka Zulu. His story isn't just about battles and conquests. It's about a rejected child who rose to become a king, a visionary who reimagined the art of war, and a unifier who created an empire from a scattered collection of clans. So strap in, because we're about to explore the life of the man who became the spear of a nation. Long before the world knew his name, the winds sweeping across southern Africa seemed to whisper of a destiny yet to unfold. Around the year 1787, under a sky darkened by storm clouds, a child was born. This child was Shaka, the son of Kazanzangokona, a chief of the then small Zulu clan, and Nandi, a princess from the neighboring Lengeni people. Their union, however, was not celebrated. It was frowned upon, considered illegitimate by many, and this cloud of controversy would follow Shaka throughout his early years. He was a child born into rejection. Cast out along with his mother, Shaka's childhood was a harsh tapestry of exile and hardship. They were wanderers, moving from clan to clan, constantly facing scorn and humiliation. He was ridiculed for his parentage, an outcast in a world where lineage meant everything. But this crucible of suffering didn't break him. It forged him. Every taunt, every act of cruelty, only hardened his resolve. He learned to be tough, self-reliant, and fiercely protective of his mother, who endured so much alongside him. This period of struggle was the anvil upon which the future king was shaped. He observed the world around him with a keen and analytical eye, learning the politics of power and the brutal realities of survival. Eventually, the young Shaka and his mother found refuge with the powerful Mthethwa paramountcy, led by the astute chief Dingiswayo. It was here, in the ranks of the Mthethwa army, that the outcast boy began to transform into the legendary warrior. As a young soldier, Shaka wasn't content to simply follow orders. His mind was always working, questioning, and innovating. He quickly distinguished himself not just with his physical prowess and bravery, but with a strategic brilliance that was impossible to ignore. He saw what others didn't: that the traditional methods of warfare were inefficient and relied too much on posturing and ritual, rather than decisive victory. This is where Shaka's genius truly began to shine. He completely revolutionized the military tactics of the era. The primary weapon at the time was the long, light-throwing spear, the assegai. Warriors would hurl them from a distance and then often retreat. Shaka saw this as wasteful and indecisive, so he re-engineered the spear. He created the *ikla*, a short, broad-bladed stabbing spear. The name is said to come from the sound it made as it was withdrawn from an enemy's body. This new weapon forced his warriors into brutal, face-to-face combat, a terrifying prospect for their opponents. There was no retreat, only victory or death. But a weapon is only as good as the warrior who wields it. Shaka knew he needed a new kind of soldier, disciplined, fearless, and absolutely loyal. He subjected his regiments, known as *Amabutho*, to grueling training. He made them march for miles over rough, thorny terrain barefoot, to toughen their feet and build incredible endurance. Discipline was absolute. Cowardice was not an option. Beyond individual training, Shaka's true masterpiece was his tactical innovation. He developed the legendary bull horn formation, or *Impondo Zankomo*. It was beautifully simple yet devastatingly effective. The army was divided into three parts. The main force, the chest, would engage the enemy head-on, pinning them in place. Then, the two horns, faster and more mobile flanks, would sweep around the sides, encircling the enemy and cutting off any chance of escape. A fourth group, the loins, was held in reserve, ready to be deployed wherever needed or to pursue any who managed to break through. It was a meat grinder, a tactical system designed for total annihilation, and it made the Zulu army virtually invincible on the battlefield. Chief Dingiswayo recognized Shaka's brilliance, promoting him and giving him command, unknowingly nurturing the very power that would soon reshape the entire region. In 1816, a message arrived that would change the course of history. Shaka's father, Kazanzangokona, had died. The Zulu throne was now vacant. This was the moment Shaka had been preparing for his entire life. With the backing of the powerful chief Dingiswayo and his own elite, battle-hardened regiments, Shaka returned to the Zulu clan. He was no longer the scorned outcast. He was a formidable conqueror, a general with an undeniable aura of power. He swiftly and ruthlessly seized the throne from his half-brother, and by 1818, he was the undisputed king of the Zulus. But Shaka's ambition didn't stop at ruling a small clan. He envisioned something far grander. He set about transforming the Zulus into a mighty, centralized nation. Using his unparalleled military machine, he began a campaign of conquest and consolidation. One by one, he defeated and absorbed the surrounding clans. Some chieftains submitted willingly, recognizing the futility of resistance. Others fought and were crushed by the unstoppable Zulu bullhorn formation. Shaka's method was shrewd. He didn't just obliterate his enemies. He incorporated the vanquished peoples into the Zulu nation. Young men from conquered tribes were integrated into his *Amabutho*, the regiments. This was a stroke of genius. It broke down old tribal loyalties and forged a new, unified identity. You were no longer just a Lungeni or a Quabe. You were Zulu. Your loyalty was to Shaka and to the nation. He built a state that stretched from the Drakensberg Mountains to the Indian Ocean, a vast and powerful empire forged in fire and bound by an unshakable military code. To his people, he was more than a king. He was a visionary. He brought order, stability, and a profound sense of pride and identity to a region once defined by scattered, warring factions. He established military kraals or settlements across the kingdom, which served as barracks, training grounds, and administrative centers. He was the architect of a nation, the central pillar holding up a new world. But to his enemies, he was the *Mafakan*, or the Crushing, a terrifying storm that swept across the land, displacing thousands and irrevocably altering the political landscape of southern Africa. His reign was a paradox, a force of creation born from destruction. Every great power has its breaking point, and for Shaka, that point came from a place of profound love and loss. The one constant in his life, the one person who had been with him through exile and humiliation, was his mother Nandi. Her death in 1827 plunged the king into a deep, dark abyss of grief. Shaka, the invincible warrior and master strategist, was consumed by sorrow. His reaction was extreme and terrifying. He declared a period of national mourning of unprecedented severity. No crops were to be planted, no milk, the Zulu staple, was to be used. Any woman who became pregnant was to be executed along with her husband. His grief spiraled into paranoia and tyranny. He ordered mass executions of those he felt were not mourning with sufficient intensity. The land that he had brought to order was now gripped by fear. His judgment, once so sharp and clear, became clouded by sorrow and suspicion. The very discipline he had instilled in his nation was now turned against it in a wave of terror. His warriors and chiefs, once fiercely loyal, began to fear for their own lives. The king who had united them was now tearing them apart from within. The cracks in the foundation of his empire began to show. His half-brothers Dingaan and Melangana, who had long lived in their brother's formidable shadow, saw an opportunity. They conspired with Mobopa, Shaka's trusted servant, to end the king's reign of sorrowful terror. In September of 1828, they found their moment. They ambushed Shaka in his royal kraal. Betrayed by his own family, by those closest to him, the great king fell, not on the field of battle against a worthy foe, but to the blades of his own kin. His final words are said to have been a prophecy to his brothers. "You think you will rule this land, but it is the swallows who will rule it," referring to the white settlers who were beginning to arrive in the region. But legends do not truly die with the flesh. Though Shaka's reign ended in betrayal and tragedy, his legacy is immortal. He had transformed southern Africa in just a decade. He created a nation, a language, and a warrior identity that persists to this day. The Zulu kingdom, though eventually conquered by the British, would never have existed without his vision. The military tactics he pioneered were so effective that the Zulu army would later inflict one of the most stunning defeats on the British Empire at the Battle of Isandlwana 50 years after his death. Today, Shaka's spirit lives on. It echoes in the powerful rhythm of the Zulu drum, in the fierce choreography of the warrior's dance, and in the immense pride of a nation that still carries his name. He was a complex and controversial figure, a brilliant strategist, a ruthless conqueror, a unifying king, and a tormented soul. He was the man who forged a nation from chaos, the spear that carved an empire into the heart of Africa. Shaka Zulu. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of one of history's most epic figures. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more incredible stories from the past, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a new video. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see covered next. Until then, stay curious.